Food for thought, part 5. There are people wondering why the church or church leaders should be bothered about governance or politics. That is very absurd, very ridiculous. It is as ridiculous as asking why a person should be interested in the sanity of the pilot that is to fly him in an aircraft. Or why a person should be concerned about the expertise of the surgeon that is to perform a major operation on him. Or why a person should be worried about the health and hygienic status of the caterer that serves him food. Please understand this. Anyone who is not concerned about those things that concern his existence is a concern himself. The silence of good people is more wicked than the actions of bad people. Evil thrives when good people are silent, and most times silence is taken to mean consent. No one is permitted to keep silent when their destiny is being decided. You don't keep quiet or silent when your destiny or your welfare is being decided. To keep quiet when your destiny is being decided, like in a political setting, is to end with an outcome that may not be desirable. Now, why should the church people, church leaders, and the society at large be interested in politics and governance? Why should we be interested in who heads the government? First, government makes policies, and policies affect the society, and the church is part and parcel of society. So everyone in society, the church and her members inclusive, are at the receiving end of government policies. Second, government's failure places a high burden of care on the church as a religious and charity institution. For example, when people can't pay their children's school fees, house rent, etc., it is not the government they go to for help. It is the church they come to. When a person's loved ones get kidnapped, the church most times is their first point of call for prayer and emotional support. And someone says the church should not be interested. Government's inability, incapacity, and irresponsibility leading to insecurity of lives and properties of the citizens places a high burden of responsibility on the society at large, the church inclusive. Government's policies and actions, listen to this, that forbid religious freedom and facilitate religious persecution and intolerance, especially against Christians and the church, pose very great existential threat to the church. They are against the very life of the church, aimed at reducing or possibly eliminating the Christian population in Nigeria. And somebody say we shouldn't be interested. Many have rapidly forgotten what happened in 2015. There was the presidential candidate of the coalition with a track record that didn't appear favorable. His speeches and actions before then were contrary to religious freedom. Many were warned of what was coming, but it fell on deaf ears. The youth then campaigned, including civil societies and others. They claimed that insecurity will be handled, corruption will be handled, etc. What was the outcome? Escalation of religious intolerance and the persecution of the church went to another level. According to Stephanos Foundation, headquartered in Jos, between 2016 and 2021, over 5,878 people, mainly Christians, in Christian territories were killed by terrorists in terrorist attacks. Between 2016 and 2021, over 10,715 people, mainly Christians in Christian territories again, were killed by herdsmen, as against 3,041 killed between 2010 and 2015. See the difference. Between 2016 and 2022, there were 11,362 recorded cases of kidnapped persons across the country. Many more are beyond record. This is against minimal, insignificant record of kidnapping before that time. Today, Some people say church should not be bothered. When out of the 3 frontline presidential candidates, 2 of them are likely to further anti-church, anti-Christian, and in fact, anti-society agenda. One of the candidates is of the same ethnicity, religion, and region as the current leader, under whose watch the nation has experienced such level of unbelievable insecurity, mostly against the church and generally against all. The repetition of the same disaster is not hard to imagine, especially as this same candidate has not condemned any killing once by his people. He has not condemned it once. He has not visited anywhere once to condole with any people. He steps into power, he continues from where it has stopped. The second candidate chose a Muslim vice president, being a Muslim himself, despising, disregarding the plight and the value of the church in Nigeria. The third candidate, the third one, remains the only sensible, only credible way to go. Not just for the good of any region or religion, but for the good of the nation as a whole. So for anyone to say that church should not be involved in governance and politics of the nation, he is either daft, deceived, dubious and fraudulent, demented, that is insane, or a demonic agent from hell who want the destruction of the church. Friend, you have been shown the way. Did you see the way? You have been shown the way. Follow the way. Go out and vote. Do all you can to ensure that your vote counts. God bless Nigeria. Stand up on your feet. Somebody may say, but the one, no, you can go ahead. The one that is of the same religion and region and ethnicity as the current leader of the nation has a Christian gentleman vice presidential candidate. Somebody may say that. Don't forget that that was our situation in 2015. There was the Christian gentleman, pastor in a denomination. Many people voted in that time because of the vice president. From the region where he has come from, we came from, they voted. The denomination, the Christianity voted, Pentecostal cycles voted, and his denomination voted with the hope that he is there, and that means that there is hope. Question: what difference has been made? Brutal question. To what extent was he able to stop insecurity, to stop the massive killings, the massive persecutions, and the massive anti-religious agenda against Christianity? What extent? But I want you to notice that every time they gave him the opportunity to act as acting president, things rapidly changed. Things rapidly changed. But to what extent was he given that opportunity? So don't let anybody deceive you. That, so let us vote because of this and that and that. Let nobody deceive you. Open your eyes. We shall not let history repeat in our nation. We shall not let history repeat in Nigeria. Wasn't that vice president, the current one, wasn't he good enough to come out as presidential candidate? Why was he denied? Why didn't it happen? Because a demonic agenda must still continue, which is being frustrated right now. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Because they deceive, people deceive themselves, and we deceive ourselves a lot. All you need to do to face the future is to think about the past. What has happened before, it gives an idea of what is likely to happen before. Don't let anybody deceive you. The frontline people, the arrowheads, are the people to consider right now in terms of who gets up there. I believe you have heard. Help me tell people, have you heard?